These are the guided notes for the least common multiple and the greatest common factor. So let's actually start with the least common multiple. And I know we went over this already, but we have 3 different methods we can use to find the least common multiple. The first one is the list method, or what I like to call, it's basically just skip counting or multiplying by 1, multiplying by 2, multiplying by 3. And that's where, again, your multiplication chart could really come in handy. So just skip count by 9. 18 plus 9 is 27. 27 plus 9 is 36. And then we're going to do 12. 12 times 1 is 24. 12 times 2 is 36. So the first one that they have in common, and it's also the least, is 36. Keep in mind that when we think of least common multiples get more. Well, that's just how I refer to it because of the M&M. So you can use that alliteration to help you remember that multiples are going to get greater. They're going to get bigger. So you're not going to see any numbers here that are less than 9 or less than 12. That would be greatest common factor, and we're not doing that right now. Okay, so then we have the prime factorization method, or this is also very similar to the factor tree method. This one, you do need to know your prime numbers, so if you don't know, you can go look on my website, but if you do know your prime numbers, it's fine. So to get 9, we can multiply 3 times 3, so that's why that's here, right here. And then to get 12, we have to get to 12 by multiplying numbers together that are only prime numbers. So I can't do 4 times 3 or 6 times 2, but if I think about 6 times 2, 6 is really 3 times 2, and then we have that other 2. And then what they did down here is they combined pairs. So you see that we have 2 3s in common, so we're going to circle that and just drop 1 down. And we're going to drop down then everything that wasn't used. So that's why we have the 3 times 3 times 2 times 2. And if you do that out, 3 times 3 is 9, 2 times 2 is 4, and then we have 9 times 4, which is 36. And then the last method is the ladder method. I know some of you learned this, some of you did not. So if you don't know the ladder method or don't care to, that is fine with me. So let's say if we have 4 and 8 as our products, and we have to find the least common multiple. Now let's say that I don't know the greatest common factor here, which would be 4. I'm going to pull out a 2 because 4 and 8 are both even. I know that if you have 2 even numbers, you can always pull out a 2. And then this is just like upside down division. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Now then I look at my next 2 numbers. Are there any common factors that they have in common? Or can I multiply by 1 to get another? And I can. 2 can go into both of them. So I'm going to pull out another 2. And then again, upside down division, 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. And I know 1 and 2 are both prime numbers, so I am done. Now remember the ladder method, anything to the right is the GCF, but you have to multiply them together. So the GCF is 4, and then the LCM makes the L, or all the numbers on the outside. So we have 4 times 1 times 2, and I got that 4 from those 2 2's, which should be 8. So the least common multiple of 4 and 8 is 8. Okay, now down here we're going to use the list method to find the LCM of 6 and 8. I always start with the number itself and then I skip count. So I'm going to start with 6 and I go up 5. Or 5 times I should say. So 6, whoops, not 18. 12, 18, 24, 30. Okay, that was 6 times 5, so I'm just going to stop there and wait. And then we have 8, 16, 24, and you know what? I'm not even going to keep going because I see that they have the 24s in common. So the least common multiple of 6 and 8 is 24. I want you guys to try 1 and 2. Again, it says to you, you could either use the list method or the prime factorization method. To me, just, whatever floats your boat or whatever works here is fine with me. So if you only want to choose one, that is fine. If you want to drop down the ladder and do the ladder method here too, that's fine with me. But you can only, or you should only pick one really. Alright, when you're done with that, So feel free to pause the video if you want to do the least common multiple right away. And then when you unpause it, you should be on the greatest common factor. So you can see here that we have the factors of 12 and 16 to start. So they did kind of like the rainbow method, 1 times 12, 2 times 6, and 3 times 4. And then 16, 1 times 6, 2 times 8, and then 4 times 4. Now which ones do they have in common? They have 1s, they have 2s, and they have 4s. So between 1, 2, and 4, my 4 is the greatest one. So 4 is going to be the greatest common factor. Let me rewind and just say factors get fewer. Okay, so the numbers here are all going to be less than 12 and 16, or equal to it. So you don't see any numbers here greater than 12 or 16. So factors get fewer, multiples get more. And then we just found that it's 4. Make a list of all the factors for the number 30 and for the factors of 48. So like the rainbow method, I always start with 1 times 30, and then I go up to 2 because it's the next in line, 2 times 15, 3 times 10, and 5 times 6. Okay, 5 and 6, I'm going to stop there because actually 6 is 5, 6, 7 can't, 8 can't, and 9 can't. So I know I'm done. And then I'm at 10, so I'm already good to go over there. Then 48, I have 1 times 48, 2 times 24, 3 times 16, 4 times 12, and 6 times 8. And I know 7 doesn't. 7 would be the only other number that I would put there, but 7 does not go into 48. Again, use your multiplication chart if you need to. So all the common factors, they both have 1 in common, they both have 2 in common, and they both have 3 in common. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and I don't see anything else. So that's it. Obviously the greatest number here then would be 3. Okay, so now I want you to do the think and solve below. There's 2 different questions. Please do both of them, and then turn it in when you're done.